T-Bone. He's a big old Great Dane from Austin. He's only about 6 months old though, so he's going to get a ton bigger, and we need to make sure that when that time comes and he's well over 100 pounds, that he's not knocking people over, bullying everybody, doing whatever he wants because of his size, because he was kind of already doing those things, you know, like counter surfing, you know, knocking people over, jumping into them, etc. And also pulling on the leash super hard. Good. You see this board here, super small, but he's already learned to orient himself and get his big body and these big paws on the cot. Very nice. Yep. Good. Now that was amazing. Good job. Heel. You wouldn't believe how difficult and how much hair I lost trying to get him to turn even on the big board. He would just back up, right? Because he's so big and he's so clumsy, not really familiar with his body and how to use it. And so when I'd get him on this big board here and we'd turn, he would simply back up and fall off. You see, he's kind of trying to pick up his body awkwardly. There you go. Good boy. Yep. But he's really getting it. Good. And this is really important for good healing. Very nice. So that when we're moving around off the board, we can move in whatever direction, and he's going to turn with us and stay on our left-hand side without tripping us up. It's especially important when we're turning left with a big old dog like this. I don't want to turn left and tumble over him. Right? I want him to slow down a little bit and be just aft of our hips here, so that we can turn smoothly together. And of course, turning right, same thing. Very nice. This is my boy. He can sit with just a lift up on the leash. That's going to indicate to sit. Very nice. Heel. Now if we walk straight backwards, he's going to come and swing right into heel. See, he tries to get between the legs and stuff. That's part of kind of knocking people over, and this kind of bullying behavior. Of course, he doesn't really necessarily see it that way. I didn't tell him to do that. He's going to do it on his own, which is totally fine. I'm going to reward him big time. Good job. Because I want the dog to want to do it. I want him to want to go to place on his own. Here. Very nice. But yeah, he doesn't necessarily, you know, have bad intentions with going between people's legs, leaning on them really hard, or jumping on them, etc. But those things lead to people falling over, dropping things, just being a kind of an issue to deal with every single day. We don't really need this right now, so we'll just kind of kick that aside so we have more space. Good. I want to be able, because he's so large and so long, I want to be able to walk backwards and walk around, and he can just fully navigate this space. See, when we bump back, that's going to tell the dog to stop or slow down so that we can make this turn here. So that's a big part of leash manners. As you can imagine, this dog would pull like a freight train before, and now I have no tension on the leash, and all it takes to get him to stop is very, very light touch. Very light. Good. When we first started on the leash, he would just hunker down and pull really hard, or he'd pull really hard ahead. He'd try to lay down to where he'd be like an anchor, right? Which I'm sure is a familiar experience with a lot of you watching, because you know, dogs do things like that to try and get out of it or get you to stop. You know, all these different options that they have. Very nice. So when he fully comes, I'm going to show you this way. So I want him to swing into heel. This is step one, right? Is getting him to fully cross my body and come back to my left leg. And I am glad to stop here and reward him for just crossing my body and being in this position, so that reliably every time he just naturally comes all the way back, which makes it way easier to step forward. If the dog only comes to here, you know, if he stops here or doesn't come all the way, or if he even goes between my legs, it's very difficult. I can't really make this turn because his body's so long. Very nice. And again, I just barely lift up on the leash. He's going to sit right down. That's my boy. Good job. We'll walk past him. There you go. Good job. So basically, I'm just kind of dropping my hands to add a little bit of guidance. And I'm stepping right through. Very nice. Sit. That's my boy. So we're going to do kind of an about step. Sit. Good. I'm going to stand next to him. I'm going to put my foot here on the other side of his body, and we're going to make a very sharp U-turn. Very nice. Like so. It's a little faster. Come on. So that he can make this turn very easily. Okay. And also just improving his coordination every day. Very nice. Good boy. Heel. Place. All right. So we've got him going to place from about 6 feet away, which is really very good. I mean, he really did not want to get up on these boards when we were first starting. And he would just constantly try to jump off of them, step off of it, walk backwards, etc., to get off of it. And now you can see he has an implied stay, so I don't say the word stay. That's not a part of it. But I just walk away, okay? And then he's expected to remain doing that until told to do otherwise or told to do something else. Good boy. Here. Come on. There you go. Very nice. And in a very slight way, we're working on recall, just saying here and having him come to us. Place. When I send the dog to place, it's like I'm bowling the dog in a way. I'm kind of stepping forward with my left foot and my left hand in that direction, just so that it's very clear what I mean. You see there he kind of slipped. He's still a little bit clumsy, but this is worlds better. Oh, he's going to sniff up the mic. This is worlds better than he was to begin with. Good job. He's already seeming like a lot more of a mature dog now than he was a few days ago. This is day 9 with him, so it's been a week and 2 days in training. Something else we can work on, we can ask him to sit, and then we're going to try and walk around him. Very nice. Good job. So I want him to be able to be seated or even laying down later on. It'll be the same thing. And be comfortable understanding that he just has to hold that. That's his only expectation. And it doesn't matter what's going on around him or what I'm doing. You notice as soon as he goes to sit up, I just lift up on the leash again, or step back into him. Just kind of immediately reaffirming that. I want it to be very clear what I mean, right? I don't want him to get up and come all the way to me before I interfere, because that would be a lot more confusing. Good job. All right, we're able to walk around him again. Good job. Heel. Just making it hard. He's sitting against the little bench thing. There you go. Good boy. All right. We'll go the other way. Sit. I blocked his back end from turning with my knee so that he couldn't really turn. Heel. Sit. Good. We'll just go this way again. There you go. I'm not going to really pet him there because he didn't really do it right and he was confused. Good job. That time, flawless. I come in with praise. Good. So you see the same thing. I block his back end from getting up with my knee. A little bit of interference where necessary. Okay. And that definitely got the point across. You see I'm able to walk around him repeatedly in this direction, whereas just a few seconds ago he was trying to get up every time I was going that way. Good job. So we're able to have clear guidance and alleviate some confusion for him. Good job. Here. Again, we swing right into heel very smoothly. Of course, later on we don't really have to do that as much, so maybe even right now I can just kind of more subtly step back Swing him into heel. He's doing so good. Heel. All right, let's do a little bit of position changes here. Heel. Good. Sit. There you go. I want to turn right. And we'll go again. I'm kind of dropping my hands so he has visual of them. So he's going to lay down here, and I don't really want that. So I'm just going to gently pull in my direction, encouraging him to get his legs out from under him. And then we finish this position with sitting. Good job. Very nice. Heel. Good job. So I'm being very gentle here because this was something that was difficult for him. And I don't want him to get stressed here on the board and then try to jump off or walk off again like he used to. Which was really only a couple days ago. So this is really tremendous, actually. Good job. Sit. Sit. Yes. Good boy. All right. Okay. And we're able to easily walk away. Good job. Heel. And this is what walking looks like from now on. He's just walking our pace. I barely have to manage the leash. Very loose and easy. And often the owners of these dogs that pull so hard are baffled at, this is one of the first things that's solved is the leash pulling. I make it look a little easier than it is, but honestly, I kind of have to solve it first. Otherwise, we can't do anything else if the dog's pulling away from me or at the end of the leash. Sit. There you go. And then, of course, we're fading off, even having to lift up on the leash. Right, so we're approaching more off-leash control. I'd say over the next few days, we might start going for walks with a drag line where he's just got a 15 feet long leash dragging behind him. So if he does try to get away from me, I can just step on it or pick up that leash so I don't lose the dog, right? But he still has the feeling that he has no leash on. Good job. Excellent work.